All right, we'll take our giveaway. We'll announce the giveaway result right now. But before then, I'll just have to make a few comments. We started this year and I said we are not just going to be reading books. Apart from reading books, we will listen to music because there are places music get to that books might not necessarily get. Music speaks to the soul. And when we say music, I guess we should know what we mean by now. It was very disappointing to see the arguments between Fela Kuti and the young man. Like 2 years ago, I wrote something about Fela and I said Fela doesn't do Afrobeats, or Fela didn't do Afrobeats. A lot of people argued it, but I guess they didn't understand what I meant. Because if what we listen to in Nigeria or from Nigeria today is what is called Afrobeat, then Fela never did those kind of music. Fela did something that is untouchable. Since he did it, nobody has replicated it. Members of his families, like his children, samples, but sampling is not enough. The originality stays with him, and it's Afrobeat, not Afrobeats. There is a difference. There is an S to the Afrobeat that you listen to today. Fela did Afrobeat, and nobody has replicated that. So if you're comparing musical acts, Fela shouldn't fit into whatever comparison. He should just stay. He has his own place, and then we can compare the rest. And it's very important. I liked how it trended so that newer people would get to know his works and get to know what he stood for. Fela was all about freedom. What we have today is party, 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 and government friends going into the studios to release distractions. But Fela didn't do those kind of things. All right, now to our giveaway. In January last month, we started with um, what's the title of this song? Pete Pete by Nice and Asha. So, and that the giveaway has a sequence. Even if you got the songs correctly, you would have to write them in their order. There was a particular order. So on the 5th of January, the first song was Pete Pete by Nice and Asha. The song is in Yoruba. It's a very wonderful song. For those of you who have listened, especially those who understand Yoruba, music generally doesn't have language. But because of the lyrics and the message, it's important you understand what the artist is talking about. And thanks to technology, there are different platforms that you can get the translation. But if you listen to Pete Pete by Asa and Nice, the song asks a lot of pertinent questions. The song was touching the foundations of Nigeria. It was telling us about how things just keep getting bad and nobody's doing anything about it. That we got independence in 1960 and things were easy, but moving forward, things started getting difficult. The politicians are all about playing pranks, acting smart and fooling the people. And it was like, "Oh, how long is this going to continue?" The people who are supposed to be doing something about it are just doing absolutely nothing about it. Nobody who oppresses you to their gains will ever want to stop it. Operation stops when you rise up against it. It was Edmund Burke who said, "The only thing necessary for evil to thrive is when good people do nothing." So when you are a good person and you do nothing about evil, then you are bad because you are the one who allows it to thrive. The evildoers are not to blame because that's the only thing they are supposed to do. It is you who do not um, do anything about it that is to blame. That's why we need to do something about the evil that have befallen our society, because evil doesn't identify the person who caused it. It identifies anybody and everybody. So Asha was the first. Asha featuring Nice, Pete Pete, January 5. The second was Glory, a song I like so much. The song won an Oscars. Glory by Common and John Legend is a very beautiful song. It's a song about freedom. It's a revolutionary song. And that song was speaking to the consciousness of the people, how the government does what it do. I always say government is relevant to the extent that they are only there to create problems. And it is the people who would say enough is enough. Apart from that, the problem continues. So, Glory is a song that pushes us to rise up and say enough is enough, without which we will never be glorious, we will never become victorious. We have to stand up. A part of the song said, um, our forefathers walked with the torch. So we are supposed to be running with it right now. So we are supposed to do better than what our forefathers did. Our forefathers rose against colonialism. They've risen severally against oppression, but they didn't do so much. But it's our generation that should take the baton and do even better than what our forefathers did. Glory, the second one, by Common and John Legend. That was on the 12th of January. Then on the 19th of January, there was Speak Life. Speak Life is a song by Damian Marley. Damian Marley is a very interesting personality. He's very spiritual. He's highly conscious. He speaks about freedom a lot. He takes a leap from his father, Bob Marley. And he is very special with his art. He's that one person that introduced hip hop to reggae music. He married the two together, and it comes out with something very wonderful. So Speak Life is a song that talks about being positive, seeing positives in everything that have to do with you. That you're being oppressed today by wrong leaders doesn't mean you should just accept it and think That's the way the cookies crumble. But you have to be positive. You have to reject. One way of being positive is by rejecting negativity. The songs speak about how we have blindfolded on our history. And people who do not take history lessons will be punished by posterity. You know, we keep repeating our history, making the same mistakes as our ancestry, the mistakes our forefathers made, we are repeating, but we have to wake up, and as long as we wake up, as long as we keep rejecting what we are not supposed to put up with, one day we may find our oasis. So that's what that song is about. It's a very intellectually loaded song. Speak Live by Damian Marley, 19th of January. Then the last one was on the 26th of January, just last week. What About Us by Pink. Pink is a hip, is a pop artist. She does a lot of dance music. She would do country music, but a few times she made political music. You these What About Us is not the only song she had. She has There is Dear President, but these are avenues by which entertainers or celebrities contribute to building the consciousness of the people or of their fan base to reject the ills of society, especially the oppression by political leaders. So, What About Us was asking the leaders, what about us? If you are living in mansions, what about us? If your kids are schooling abroad, what about us? You know, if you're having a very wonderful life, what about us? What about us? That song for me is my song of the month of January because it says a whole lot of things that happens in Nigeria. We gave you our trust, we voted for you, you told us all the wonderful things you're going to do for us, and then the promises were broken. And towards the end, she said something about rising against the fake promises, rising against the leaders that they didn't live up to their expectation. And she knew that when you want to go against that, the leaders are going to fight you. But she was like, we are supposed to damn it and fight for our right. That was when she said, sticks and stones may break these bones, but I am ready. And then the question was put back to us, are you ready? So until we are ready to end the oppression, the oppressors will keep having a field day. It's as simple as that. The fear we are beclouded by is only going to make things worse for us. We are not supposed to be afraid. The people are stronger than the people in power, but they make us think we aren't. It's because we do not really know the power we have. So, number one song, Pete Pete by Nice and Asha. Number two, Glory by Common and John Legend. Number three, Speak Life by Damian Marley. Number four, What About Us by Pink. If you answered in this sequence, kindly drop your bank account details in the comments and get credited by 100,000 naira. Congratulations. Thank you.